there, my name is Jackie Flietstra. I am one of the couples therapists here at Inland Empire Couples Counseling, and today I wanted to continue on the conversation about discernment counseling. In my last video, I talked to you about what discernment counseling is, who it's for, and also the difference of that between traditional couples therapy. And so today I'm just going to dive in a little bit deeper and talk to you about the benefits and challenges of discernment counseling. So starting out with the benefits, one thing that's really great about discernment counseling, is when a couple or an individual is on the fence about whether or not to stay in the relationship and what decision to make, discernment counseling can be really helpful to make sure that that person knew their options and really process that decision thoroughly and from multiple angles. I often find that a lot of people, when they're at this spot of being on the fence, really only see two options. Do I stay or do I go? And we're not really seeing that there's other options available, which is what would it look like to leave things as is? What would it look like to separate? What would it look like to divorce? What would it look like to commit to another 6 months of working on the relationship? And not only do they get to process different options, but then they get to talk about what are the pros and cons of all of those options, and how would all of those options impact them in a positive way or maybe in a negative way, and not just impact them, but your kids or your families. And with that, you get to, walk away feeling really confident about your decision, that you actually really considered all of the options and weighed what is going to work for you. And I think when people do that, and I talked a little bit about this in my last video, you not only get to walk away with not having regret when you look back, but you also don't have those questions popping up in your head of was it possible that we could have, changed or, had a different result from this? What if we had tried separation before divorce? If we had just had some time to cool off, would we have still chosen the same decision? Or, another question that might pop up for some people is did we just stay together so that our kids didn't have a broken home? And does that mean that they didn't get a broken home? Because maybe they just still continued to live with all of the tension in the home because we were so unhappy together. And so when you process all of those things, you don't walk away with those questions because you will have answered them in your discernment counseling. Another benefit to discernment counseling is that couples get to get a better understanding of their partner. And for some people, when they have more understanding of those decisions, they actually can feel more at peace with that decision. So I'll give you an example. If somebody is really considering separation, and the leaning in partner or the person that wants to stay in the relationship hears that, sometimes people have this reaction of they want to get separated, so then that means we're going to divorce, because of course separation is the next step to divorce. But in discernment counseling, we get to talk about that separation doesn't have to mean the next step to divorce, that it actually could mean that this is actually the next step to working on the relationship. And separation can be this thing where we cool off, we take a breather and recharge, so that when we have had that time to cool off, we can come back to the relationship and actually work on it and see progress. Another way of thinking about this is in discernment counseling, let's say that the ultimate decision is to get divorced. If you got to hear your partner's, concerns about their hesitations to stay in the relationship, or some of the things that were going on for them, maybe some boundaries were crossed, or maybe there's just years of hurt and resentment that they don't feel they can ever get over. When you get to hear that, you will no longer feel like they just made this really quick, rash decision without actually considering all of the options, or thoroughly thinking about this thing and just having this knee-jerk reaction to end it. And so, I think a lot of people find a lot of peace of whatever decision was made, we actually had the time to process that, and we're not just reacting quickly, and we've really thoroughly thought about this. And now I'm going to go into the challenges of discernment counseling. One of the challenges of discernment counseling is the desire for, your therapist to make the decision for you. I often experience this for the partner who's leaning out, that this decision feels huge and it's hard to make this all by yourself. And with that, it's scary and hard. And wouldn't it be nice if a clinical therapist just told you what decision to make? And oftentimes I find, like, in this space, because there is so much fear of, like, what if I make the wrong decision? It's easy to just wish that the therapist would tell you what to do. And I think if I could, speak to that for a moment, one, it's unethical for us to tell you what to do or what decision you should make, but two, just on a personal note, like, we never have to live your decisions. And so the consequences, the impacts that those decisions have, that's all you and how you are going to have to experience that, and not ever us. And so as much as it would feel nice for us to decide this thing for you, we're not you. And so it's hard. If I could add some encouragement there, though, with that, is like, some of life's decisions, whether it's to go to school or get a new job or get married or have a baby, they're hard decisions. And sometimes those decisions aren't black and white decisions, or ones that you have 100% confidence about. There's sometimes always an element of fear or doubt about whether or not we made the right choice. And I'm here to support you, or we're here to support you in that, and it's not easy, but I can't make the decision for you, or we can't make the decision for you. And for the partner who's leaning in, in that space, one of the challenges for you, if you're leaning in and your partner's leaning out, it can be really painful and scary to not know what decision they're going to make. And it could be very, difficult to sit in discernment counseling for up to 5 sessions, just kind of like waiting for this decision to get made. And sometimes it's even scary to think that our partner is considering divorce, because we desperately want it to work out. And wouldn't it be nice if your therapist just told your partner that, hey, there's always hope, or hey, I believe your partner can change, or hey, this can be fixed, so just stay. Like, wouldn't it be nice if your therapist could tell your partner that? But if I could offer you encouragement, you deserve a partner who doesn't feel forced to stay, or only stays because your couples therapist told them to. And with that, I know that the wait is painful, but I think you'll be able to walk away with peace when you know that your partner has really thoroughly thought this decision out and made a decision that was good for them. So I hope this was helpful to hear some of the benefits and challenges of discernment counseling. If you have any more questions about discernment counseling, please feel free to reach out. We'd love to answer your questions or get you started in this process. Thanks so much.